The wind howled outside the small outpost as snow blew across the frozen ground of Valenfor, a cold and quiet planet far from the center of the galaxy. Inside the outpost, a human named Toma worked quietly, fixing a broken water pump. His hands were rough, his face calm. Toma lived alone. He had no visitors, no neighbors, and no family. Only machines kept him company. He didn't mind. Life was simple this way. That evening, as he made his small dinner, the warning light above the door began to blink. Toma frowned. The scanner showed movement near the north hill, something alive, moving slowly in the snow. He put on his thick coat, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped outside into the storm. The cold bit into his skin as he pushed through the wind. The scanner beeped again, guiding him forward. Then, in the snow ahead, he saw a shape. Someone was lying face down, half covered in white powder. Toma rushed forward and turned the figure over. It was an alien, tall, silver-skinned, with faint glowing lines on his arms. His eyes opened for a second, bright blue, full of pain, then closed again. Toma hesitated for only a moment. Then he lifted the stranger over his shoulder and carried him back to the outpost. Inside, the outpost was warm. Toma placed the alien on his workbench and began removing the snow-covered armor. The stranger had several wounds, nothing deep, but he had clearly walked far without rest. Toma cleaned the cuts, applied basic gel, and covered him with a blanket. He sat in silence, watching the being breathe. Who was he? Why was he alone on this frozen planet? Hours passed. The storm outside grew stronger, but inside, it was quiet. The next morning, the alien opened his eyes. You, human? He asked in a soft voice. Yes, Toma said. You're lucky I found you. The storm was bad. The alien sat up slowly. I was running. No time left. I should not have survived. Toma gave him a bowl of warm broth. The alien accepted it with both hands and drank it slowly. My name is Renew, he said. I come from far, very far. I'm Toma, the human replied. This is my home. You can rest here until you are strong again. Renew nodded. His eyes filled with quiet thanks. For 2 days, he stayed in the outpost, silent and calm. Toma didn't ask many questions. He wasn't the type to pry. But he noticed that Renew often stared at the stars through the window, as if remembering something. On the third morning, Renew stood near the door, dressed in his clean armor. You saved me, he said. You gave me food, warmth, life. I cannot forget this. It's fine, Toma replied. Anyone would do the same. No, Renew said with a shake of his head. Not everyone would help a stranger like me. My people have a saying. Life saved is a debt written in stars. I owe you? Toma looked at him, unsure what to say. Then Renew spoke the strangest words Toma had ever heard. I repay my debt and leave you my wife and daughter. Toma blinked. What? You are a good man, a kind man. My time is ending, but I want them to live. They will be safe with you. You will care for them. Wait, what are you talking about? Renew pressed a small glowing stone into Toma's hand. This will guide them. They are near, hidden. They will come. Then, before Toma could speak again, Renew stepped outside and walked into the snow. Toma stood frozen, holding the stone, unsure if he had just been part of a dream. By nightfall, Toma heard a knock at the outpost door. He opened it slowly, standing. There was a tall, calm alien woman, her skin a soft silver like Renew's, but with violet markings across her face. Beside her stood a young girl, no older than 10. Her eyes were large and curious. She held a small bag, clutched tightly in both hands. The woman bowed her head. I'm Maya. This is Ina, my daughter. Renew sent us. Toma stared at them, unsure what to say. Maya's voice was steady, but her eyes were tired. Ina looked at him with quiet fear. I don't know what he told you, Toma began. He said you saved him, Maya said. He said we are yours now. I didn't save him for that, Toma replied quickly. He didn't have to. Maya shook her head. Among our kind, debts are sacred. If he gave his word, then we are here. We ask only for shelter, safety. Toma looked at the snow swirling behind them. then at the young girl, who hugged her mother's side. He stepped aside. "Come in." The door closed behind them. The outpost was warm again, but now it felt different, bigger, quieter, as Maya and Ina sat near the heater. Toma stood back, still trying to understand what had just happened. He had lived alone for years, and now, in a single day, he had become the guardian of an alien child and her mother. What had Renew meant by Repay? Why did he leave? Toma didn't know. But as he watched Ina fall asleep beside the warm heater, and Maya silently fix her torn gloves with steady fingers, he realized one thing. Whatever this was, it was only the beginning. The outpost on Valen 4 was no longer silent. For the first time in years, Toma heard footsteps other than his own. He heard soft voices, quiet humming, and the gentle laughter of a child. Though he had lived alone for so long, the presence of Maya and Ina brought something new, something warm. Still, Toma was unsure. He sat near the heater, watching Maya as she prepared tea from dried leaves she had brought in her small bag. She moved with grace, her hands steady and calm. She did not speak much, but when she did, her voice was gentle. Ina, on the other hand, was full of curiosity. She followed Toma around the outpost, asking questions in her soft alien accent. "What does this machine do? Why is this light blinking? Can I touch this?" Toma tried to answer with patience. He showed her the tools, explained the machines, and even let her press a few buttons under his careful eye. Her mind was quick. She remembered everything he said. That evening, as the storm outside calmed, Toma sat with Maya near the heater. "Why did Renew leave?" he finally asked. Miha looked down at her cup. He was being hunted by those who wish our people gone. He did not want to bring danger here. So he went. Toma frowned. "And he left you, with me. He trusted you. That means more than words. Among our kind, giving someone your family is not shame. It is honor. But I'm not. I don't know how to be responsible for others. I just fix things." Maya looked at him with calm eyes. "You saved his life. Now you protect what he loved most. That is more than enough." Toma didn't reply, but her words stayed in his mind. The days passed. Maya began helping with daily work. She fixed torn fabric, cleaned filters, and even repaired a broken cooking unit. Her hands were skilled in quiet ways. Toma was surprised at how quickly she adapted to the tools. Ina, meanwhile, became Toma's shadow. She loved machines. She would sit for hours watching him fix wires or rebuild small engines. One day, she asked for spare parts. Toma gave her a few broken pieces and told her she could play with them. The next morning, she had built a tiny walking bot using scrap metal and old wires. It was slow, wobbly, and simple, but it moved. Toma was impressed. "You did this," Ina smiled proudly. "It's not perfect, but I like it. You have a good mind," he said. She nodded. "Mama says my hands learn what my eyes see." One night, Maya told Toma more about their people. "We are called the Lenari," she said. "Long ago, we lived on green worlds filled with music and light. We believed in peace and silence and understanding the stars. What happened? We refused to join the Galactic Trade Union. We would not build weapons or give our land for war. So they hunted us. They called us enemies. Many were taken. Others ran. We've been running for years." Toma felt a quiet anger rise in his chest. He had heard stories about the Union, but he had stayed far away from their wars. Now, for the first time, those stories had faces. Miha's, Ina's. He looked at them and knew one thing. He would not let them be taken. As the snow melted outside and the cold wind grew lighter, the three of them worked together to rebuild parts of the outpost. Toma taught Ina how to fix the water system. She was a quick learner and enjoyed solving problems. Maya found a way to grow small plants in a sealed room using soil she had brought from her old home. Soon, green leaves began to appear. For the first time in years, the outpost didn't just survive, it grew. Toma didn't say it aloud, but in his heart, something had changed. He no longer saw Maya and Ina as guests. They were part of his life now. One afternoon, While checking the outer sensors, Toma noticed something strange. A small blinking signal near the edge of the snow field. He walked out to investigate and found a buried communication dish, one of the old machines left behind from before he arrived. It was damaged but still had power. Somehow, it had activated. He turned it off and made repairs. But the question remained, had it sent a signal? Had someone seen it? He didn't tell Maya right away. No need to worry her. Maybe it was nothing. But that night, he stood by the window, looking at the stars. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. The next morning, Maya stepped beside him. "You are quiet today," she said. "Just thinking." "About what?" He looked at her. "About promises." She didn't answer, but placed her hand gently on his arm. "You didn't ask for us. But we are here. I don't regret it." Maya nodded. "Neither do I." As the sun rose over the icy hills, the outpost buzzed with life. Ina ran across the room chasing her walking bot. Maya stirred a pot over the heater. Toma sorted parts for a new water purifier. 3 lives, 1 separate, now joined. A man who fixed machines. A woman with quiet strength. A girl with bright eyes and a sharp mind. They had come together by chance, or maybe something more. Renu's debt was not just a promise. It was a beginning. The snow outside still fell quietly, but inside, the outpost was full of warmth. Ina often woke early and ran to the workshop. Toma would find her already holding a screwdriver, studying an old machine or asking questions. "What does this gear do? Why is this wire red?" Toma enjoyed teaching her. He had never thought about raising a child, especially not an alien child. But Ina's sharp mind and kind heart made it easy. She was more than a student, she was becoming like a daughter. Maya helped in different ways. She used her knowledge of plants to grow food in the small greenhouse she had built. Alien soil mixed with local minerals created small but healthy crops. Green leaves slowly filled the room, giving life to the cold metal walls. She also cleaned, organized tools, and repaired broken fabric and suits. Her presence brought balance. She moved with quiet purpose and rarely wasted words. But when she spoke, her words carried meaning. One evening, as Toma worked on repairing a damaged power cell, Maya sat nearby, sewing a torn jacket. "I want to thank you," she said softly. Toma looked up. "For what?" "For giving Ina peace." She laughs again. "She sleeps without fear." Toma smiled. "She's strong. She makes this place better." Maya nodded. "So do you?" He didn't know how to answer that, so he just went back to work. But her words stayed in his heart. Days passed, and a rhythm formed. Mornings began with breakfast together, usually something warm cooked by Maya. Toma and Ina would then check the power systems, repair machines, or explore the outer fields for salvage. Maya tended the greenhouse or helped build new storage units. From scrap. In the evenings, they shared stories. Toma told them about Earth, about trees that touched the sky, rain that smelled like wet stone, and birds that sang at sunrise. Ina listened with wide eyes. "I want to see Earth someday," she said. "Maybe you will," Toma replied, though he wasn't sure if Earth was still safe for visitors. Miha spoke of the Lunari homeworld. She described glowing rivers, floating gardens, and cities made of living stone. But her voice grew soft when she spoke of the day they had to flee. "Our cities are gone now, covered in ash, the stars we knew. They are silent." Toma didn't speak. He only nodded. He didn't have the words to answer that kind of loss. One morning, Toma took Ina to a nearby ridge. The snow was deep, but the sky was clear. From the top of the hill, they could see the frozen valleys stretching far beyond. "Why is everything white here?" Ina asked. "This planet was once warmer," Toma explained. "But a long winter came and never left. Now only a few plants grow, deep under the ice." Ina picked up a piece of clear frozen snow and held it to the sun. "It looks like glass." Toma smiled. "It's cold glass." She laughed. Then something on his scanner beeped. He looked at it and frowned. There was movement, small, slow but real, far on the edge of the signal range. He quickly turned it off before Ina could ask. He didn't want her to worry. Maybe it was an animal. Maybe it was just wind. But deep down, Toma felt a small knot of concern form in his chest. That night, after Ina had gone to sleep, he sat with Maya near the heater. "I saw something on the scanner," he said quietly. Maya looked at him, calm, but alert. What kind of something? Could be nothing. Could be someone. It was far. She placed her cup down. "You think they found us? I don't know. But it's possible." Maya closed her eyes for a moment. "If they come, they won't ask questions. They will try to take us. Then they'll have to go through me first." Toma said. Miha looked at him. "You don't have to fight our battle." Toma shook his head. "You're here. Ina's here. That makes it my battle too." Maya didn't smile, but her eyes softened. "Then we must prepare." Over the next few days, the three of them worked with new purpose. Toma checked the old defense systems buried under the snow. Some were broken, but others could be fixed. Maya helped reconnect energy lines. Ina built small drone scouts to patrol the nearby fields. It wasn't much, but it was something. They turned the quiet outpost into a home that could defend itself. They were no longer just surviving. They were ready. One evening, after hours of work, Toma found Ina asleep in the corner of the workshop, curled up beside a half-finished robot. He lifted her gently and carried her to her small room, tucking her in with care. As he turned off the light, Maya stood in the doorway. "She trusts you," she said. "She should." Toma replied, "I won't fail her." Maya looked at him, her voice quiet. "You have done more than we expected. Renew. He must have seen something in you." "I didn't do this for honor or reward." "I know," Maya said. "That's why it means more." Outside, the stars glowed above the snowy fields. The wind was quiet that night, as if the planet itself had paused to listen. Inside, Toma sat alone for a moment. He looked at the blinking light of the scanner. No new movement, no new threat, not yet. But something in his heart had changed. He no longer saw himself as just a mechanic or a man hiding from the galaxy. He was something else now. A protector, a guide, a part of a family. Whatever came next, he was ready. The days on Valenfor passed with quiet strength. The frozen wind still blew, but inside the outpost, life had found a rhythm. Toma worked hard. Maya grew food. Ina built small machines that could fly, walk, or clean. Their bond grew stronger each day. But the calm was not built to last. It started with a small beep. Toma was in the control room, checking energy levels. The sound came from the old communications panel, the one buried under layers of dust and ice for years. He hadn't touched it in a long time. The screen flashed a message. "Signal sent. Uplink active." Toma stared at it. "What signal?" He tapped a few buttons. A light blinked on the edge of the display. It showed the source, a low-powered dish on the outer wall, one of the old antennas. "I thought that thing was dead," Toma whispered. He ran a full scan. It confirmed the worst. A short-range pulse had gone out into space. Later that day, he told Maya everything. It was probably triggered by one of Ina's machines, he explained. She was working near that wall last week. She might have reconnected it without knowing. Maya stayed calm, but her fingers tightened around the edge of the table. "Could someone have heard it?" "Yes," Toma said. "If someone was nearby." "In the system, yes. The signal was clean enough." Ina sat silently on her stool, looking down. "I didn't mean to," she said softly. "I was just trying to make the old panel light up." Toma knelt in front of her. "It's not your fault. You're learning. You're doing amazing things." "This was an accident." Maya placed a hand on Ina's shoulder. "Still, we must be careful now." Toma nodded. "I've already started blocking the outpost signals. From now on, we're dark. No more lights, no more scans. We stay quiet." For the next few days, they prepared in silence. Toma fixed the hidden turrets buried in the snowdrifts. They were old, but strong. With some work, they could fire again. Maya reinforced the greenhouse, turning the outer wall into thick layers of ice and metal. She also taught Toma how to hide energy signatures using Linari tech. Ina built a scout drone that flew far into the sky, circling silently above the valley. It sent back images every hour. At night, Toma barely slept. He kept watched by the scanner, staring at the stars. Then one evening, it happened. The warning light blinked red. A known object, entering orbit, a ship. Toma called Maya at once. She came quickly, followed by Ina. "It's small," he said, pointing at the screen. "Fast. It didn't respond to any of our block signals. That means they're not friendly." Maya stared at the shape. "That's a hunter-class vessel." Toma had never seen one before, but he believed her. It looked like a dark arrow moving through the sky, sharp and dangerous. "They know we're here," he said. "It's just a matter of time." They shut off all lights. They moved to the deeper chambers of the outpost. Toma activated the outer defenses. Maya handed Ina a small Lenari beacon, something that could hide her heat signature if needed. "If things go wrong," Maya told her, "you hide. You stay quiet, no matter what." Ina nodded. She was afraid, but her eyes were brave. "I want to help," she whispered. "You already did," Toma said. "We're stronger because of you." A few hours later, the ship landed. Toma watched it from a distance. Hidden behind rocks with a small scope, the craft opened slowly. Figures stepped out, not Lenari. Humans, no. He looked closer. They were wearing dark armor, full helmets, and heavy rifles. Trade union enforcers. Toma's chest tightened. These weren't explorers. They were hunters searching for something or someone. Maya was right. They had come for her. Toma returned quickly. "They're not Lenari," he told Maya, "but they're working for someone who wants you. They want to erase the last of us," Maya said, quietly. Without noise, Toma stood tall. Then they chose the wrong place. He began setting up traps around the outpost. Old machines became distractions. Empty barrels turned into decoys. He reprogrammed the outer doors to lead intruders into locked chambers filled with smoke. Maya helped too. She used a Lenari device that could bend light and create false signals. Ina updated her scout drone to send out fake heat trails, making it look like movement was happening far away. Together, they turned the quiet outpost into a clever maze. The first group of soldiers arrived the next morning. Toma watched them from behind a wall. The defense system stayed hidden. They walked straight into one of the traps, a hallway that filled with sound and light, confusing their helmets when they stumbled out. Maya hit the switch and locked the doors behind them. Another team followed. The drone signaled and got lost in the icy valley. They kept trying, but each time they failed. Toma never used deadly force. He didn't want to harm anyone. He only wanted to protect his new family. They had made this place a home. He would not give it up. By the third night, the soldiers pulled back. They built a small camp and sent out a transmission. Toma caught part of it on the old radio line. Unable to secure target, requesting new instructions. The outpost is unpredictable. That made Toma smile a little. Back inside, Maya sat with Ina while Toma checked the systems. "We can't keep playing this game," Maya said quietly. "I know," Toma replied. "But if we hold on long enough, maybe they'll give up." Maya shook her head. "They won't." Toma looked at her. "Then we find another way." That night, the stars above were sharp and cold. Ina slept peacefully in her room. Maya stood beside Toma on the rooftop, wrapped in a thick blanket. "You've done more than we ever expected," she said. Toma kept his eyes on the sky. "Maybe. But it still might not be enough." Maya turned to him. "Then we make it enough." They stood in silence, to figures under the starlight. No longer strangers. No longer alone. The ship above Valenfor remained silent, like a shadow frozen in the sky. Below, the soldiers had stopped their direct attacks, but Toma knew they were watching, planning, waiting for a weak moment. Inside the outpost, the lights stayed off. Power was low. Supplies were limited, but spirits were still strong. Toma stood by the scanner, thinking about everything that had happened. He had once been just a mechanic, fixing broken machines and hiding from the galaxy. Now, he was standing between hunters and a family that had become his own. He knew he couldn't run forever, but he also knew something else. Humans didn't always win with power. Sometimes they won with cleverness. It was time to show these hunters the human way. Early that morning, Toma gathered Maya and Ina. "I have a plan," he said. "It's not perfect, but it's all we've got." Maya nodded. She didn't ask for details. She trusted him. Ina sat beside him, holding her newest device, a small flying ball that could record sound and play it back. "I'm ready," she said. "I can help." Toma smiled. "Yes, you can." They started by sending out fake heat signals from 3 directions. Ina's flying drones carried old battery packs that gave off just enough energy to look like someone walking through the snow. The soldiers reacted fast. They moved their teams, splitting up and following the false trails into the cold hills. The outpost was no longer their focus while they were gone. Maya activated a Lenari cloak device that hid the outpost's energy completely. It was now invisible to scanners. Then Toma walked into the snow. He moved carefully, climbing the rocky ridge behind the enemy's camp. It had taken him days to plan the path. Now he followed it step by step, holding a small pack filled with tools, wires, and a simple recording device from the top. He could see the comm station the soldiers had set up, a tall tower with blinking lights and a dish pointing toward the sky. That was how they sent messages back to their leaders. If Toma could reach it, he might have a chance. He waited until night. Then, with Maya guiding him through a tiny earpiece, he crawled down the hill toward the station. One guard stood outside. Toma reached into his pocket and pressed a button. Ina's sound device flew through the air and landed behind a pile of rocks. It played back a loud noise, just enough to sound like movement. The guard turned, confused, and walked toward the sound. Toma moved quickly. He opened the control box, connected his tools, and tapped into the signal back inside the outpost. Maya listened carefully as Toma's voice came through the speaker. "I'm in. Tell me when the signal is strong." Maya pressed a few buttons on the Lenari panel. "Now," Toma uploaded a message. Not just any message. It was proof. Inside the data pack was a full record of what had happened, the crash that brought Renew here, Toma saving him, the family he left behind, and the attacks that followed. There was also footage of the trade union soldiers breaking their own peace laws by hunting refugees without warning or trial. Toma didn't just send it to the union. He sent it to the Galactic Public Channel, a network watched by traders, settlers, scientists, and governments. If anyone in the galaxy still believed in justice, they would see this. Back at the outpost, Maya and Ina waited silently. In our past. Then another. The stars remained still. Then the scanner beeped. A new ship had entered the system. Different design, clean surface, bright blue lights. Maya stepped closer to the screen. "That's not one of theirs," she said. Toma's voice came through the radio again. "I'm almost back. I think it worked." The new ship landed between the hunter camp and the outpost. It opened slowly, and several beings stepped out. Some were human, some were not, but all wore symbols of the Galactic Peace Corps, a neutral group that protected laws across star systems. They walked straight into the hunter camp. Voices were raised. Arguments followed, but no shots were fired. After nearly an hour, the hunter ship lifted off the ground and flew back into orbit. Moments later, it vanished into the stars. They were gone. Toma returned just before sunrise. He was tired, cold, and covered in snow, but he was smiling. "They're not coming back," he said. Maya stood silently, then placed her hand on his chest. "You didn't just protect us," she said. "You changed the story." Ina ran and hugged him. "You scared them." Toma laughed. "I just told the truth." Maya looked at the sky, now turning soft blue as morning light spread over the land. "You showed them what kind of human you are." Toma looked at her. "No, I showed them what kind of family we are." That day, the outpost felt different, lighter, safer. The fear that had filled the air was gone. Toma, Maya, and Ina walked through the snow-covered fields, checking the damage and making notes for repair. But their steps were easy now. Their shoulders relaxed. They had stood against the dark, and the dark had stepped back. Later, Maya and Toma sat by the greenhouse, watching Ina chase her small flying robot across the floor. She is growing fast, Toma said. She learns. From you, Maya replied. Toma looked at the child and nodded. She'll be better than both of us. Maya smiled. That's the hope. They sat in silence for a while, letting the warmth of victory settle into their hearts. Toma didn't know what would come next. The galaxy was still full of dangers. But he knew one thing for sure. He would never let this family be taken from him. Not by soldiers, not by storms, not by fear. They were together now, and that was enough. Weeks passed since the hunters had left. The outpost was calm again. But Toma knew that peace on Valenfor could be fragile. The galaxy was full of politics and power struggles, and Miha's people, the Lenari, were still not safe. One day, while Toma was repairing a broken antenna, a small ship quietly landed nearby. It was sleek and gray, with no markings. From it stepped a single figure dressed in plain clothes and carrying a small case. Toma met the visitor at the outpost door. The stranger gave a polite nod. I am called Eno, the visitor said in clear human speech. I represent the Galactic Trade Union. I have come to speak with Maya. Toma's eyes narrowed. The trade union was the same group that had sent the hunters before. Maya appeared behind Toma. Calm but alert. Why have you returned? She asked. Eno smiled politely. To offer a solution. Toma and Maya invited Eno inside. The room felt smaller now with 3 people, but tension filled the air. Eno spoke first. The Union recognizes that the conflict with the Lenari is complicated, he said. We do not wish for more bloodshed. This visit is to discuss terms for peace. Maya listened carefully. What kind of terms? Eno opened his case and took out a small device, a map showing parts of space. We have found an ancient energy source in a nearby system, he explained. It is powerful and could benefit both our peoples, but it is in dangerous territory. Your people's knowledge would be invaluable to secure it. Miha's eyes flickered with interest. And what is the catch? Eno's voice was calm. If your people agree to share their knowledge and cease hostilities, the Union will grant safe settlement zones, resources for rebuilding, and protection for your families. Toma looked at Maya. Does this sound like peace? Maya sighed. It sounds like a chance. But we must be careful. The Union has broken promises before. Toma spoke then. You have seen what we can do. The outpost survived because of cooperation between us, between species. Eno nodded. That is why I came here. You are the bridge, Toma. Your family shows the possibility of peace. Maya looked at Toma and then back to Eno. We want to protect our people. We want a future. Eno smiled. Then let us work together. Over. The next days, discussions continued. Plans were made. The Union promised supplies, protection, and support for rebuilding Lenari homes. In return, Maya agreed to share knowledge of the energy source and to help in negotiations for peace. Toma watched these talks with cautious hope. It was the first time in years that Miha's people had a real chance to rebuild. Meanwhile, Ina continued to grow. She built new machines with Toma, learning about both human and Lenari technology. Her small robots moved with grace and purpose, helping with daily tasks. One afternoon, Ina showed Toma a drawing she made. It was of a bright world with green forests and rivers, her dream of a safe home. Toma smiled. We'll help you get there, Ina. One evening, as the sun set behind the snowy hills, Maya and Toma stood outside, watching the stars. This is only the beginning, Maya said softly. Toma agreed. But we have hope now. She smiled. Thank you, Toma, for everything. Toma shook his head. No. Thank you for trusting me with your family. They stood in quiet friendship, ready for the new future. As the new outpost grew, more Lenari survivors arrived, finding safety and peace. Toma became known as a leader, a human who stood for unity and hope. He never forgot Renu's words. He had repaid the debt not with weapons or war but with family, trust, and courage. The frozen planet of Valenfor was no longer just a place of cold and silence. It was home. A home built not just by walls or machines, but by trust and hope. Toma stood outside the outpost. watching the soft glow of the new settlement. Small houses, made from recycled metal and stone, dotted the snow-covered valley. Green plants grew in carefully built gardens. The Lenari and humans worked side by side, building a future. Maya and Ina stood beside him, their faces calm but full of quiet joy. "I never thought this day would come," Maya said softly. Toma smiled. "Neither did I." The peace deal with the trade union had brought changes. Soldiers no longer hunted the Lenari. Supplies arrived regularly. New settlers joined them, adding skills and strength. Toma had become a leader, but he did not forget his simple life as a mechanic. He worked alongside everyone, fixing machines, helping build homes, and teaching the young ones. Ina was no longer just a curious child. She was a symbol of hope, showing that two very different worlds could come together. One clear morning, as the sun rose over the distant mountains, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. They wanted to meet with Maya and Toma to recognize the new settlement and hear their story. The news spread quickly. The small community gathered in the largest building, eager and nervous. Maya stood before the crowd, holding in his hand. "Toma and I will go," she said. "We will tell the galaxy about our home and our dreams." Toma nodded. "And we will ask for peace. For all of us." The journey to the Galactic Council was long and difficult. Toma and Maya traveled through star systems, visiting planets with strange skies and new faces. But their hearts stayed with Val at the council. They told their story, the story of the stranger who repaid a debt with his kindness, who accepted an alien family as his own. They spoke of war and fear, but also of hope and courage. The council listened carefully. After their speech, the leaders stood and applauded. "You have shown us what is possible," said the council leader. "Your family is a beacon for the galaxy." When Toma and Maya returned, the settlement welcomed them as heroes, but they did not feel like heroes. They were just people who chose to protect those they loved. Ina ran to them, her eyes bright. "Did they believe us?" she asked. "Yes," Toma said. "And they will help." Seasons changed. The small community grew stronger. Children played among the gardens, new buildings rose, and every night the stars above Valenfor shone brighter. Toma often thought of Renew, the alien who had repaid his debt by trusting him with his family. He realized that the greatest debts were not paid with money or weapons, but with love and trust. One evening, Toma stood on the highest hill, looking at the stars. Maya joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We have a future now," she said. Toma smiled. "Thanks to you, thanks to Ina, and thanks to a stranger's faith." They stood quietly, watching the new dawn rise over Val for a dawn of peace, hope, and family.